Good afternoon. My name is Michael Dennis. I'm the Director of the Office of Housing Voucher Programs here in HUD headquarters. I'd like to welcome you to today's broadcast. This afternoon, we will be talking about the funding provisions for 2013 for the Housing Choice Voucher program. As many of you know, this is a particularly challenging year for the voucher program due to the impacts of sequestration. We are looking at historic low prorations in both our HAP renewal account and in our administrative fees. What we're going to hopefully accomplish this afternoon is to walk everyone through our recent notice, Notice 2013-12, which talks about not only our renewal implementation for the voucher program, but also some other important provisions of the continuing resolution that impact our voucher program and its operations. I'm joined here today by Miguel Fontanez, who is the Director of our Financial Management Division. Miguel, I'm going to turn it over to him without any further ado because we have a lot of material to cover, and he will introduce the rest of our panel. Miguel?
Thank you, Michael, for the opening remarks. Hello, my name is Miguel Fontanez. Like Mike Dennis mentioned it, I'm the Director of the Housing Voucher Financial Management Division. And our presenters for today will be Bernice Onlen, Program Advisor for the Housing Choice Voucher Financial Management Division, and also Nicholas Pilka, Program Analyst also for the Housing Voucher Financial Management Division. The goal, like Michael mentioned, is to ensure that you understand how the FMD, or the Financial Management Division, determined your 2013 HAP renewal funding. We have described this calculation process in our PIH notice recently published. It was published last week, number 2013-12. In this notice, we describe the Housing Choice Voucher funding provisions as enacted by the Consolidated and further appropriation or continuing appropriations 2013. We will also going to provide you with all the funding that has been appropriated through for the program. The HAP amount appropriated, the administrative fees amount appropriated, funding awarded for family self-sufficiency coordinators fees for FSS, funding awarded for or appropriated for the veterans or homeless veterans, also known as VASH, also funding appropriated for tenant protection actions. But most importantly, we're going to guide you through the application requirements and funding adjustment categories stated in the Appropriations Act for to be able to apply for the set-aside funding in calendar year 2013. Today we'll not be taking phone calls, but however we have a mailbox, and that address is PIH Financial Management Division at HUD.gov. Again, it's PIH Financial Management Division at HUD.gov. All together, no spaces. During the last 15 minutes of our presentation, we will be able to address those questions that you sent us to the mailbox. And we're also going to address some questions that we received in advance from some housing authorities. Very important, your housing authority has already received the 2013 funding award letters and enclosures. Please have those enclosures handy because the guidance we're going to provide to you today will go over all the calculation process. With no further ado, I'm going to leave you now with Bernice Onlen, Program Advisor for the Financial Management Division. Bernice.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Miguel. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for what we hope will be very informative and we think will be a very important conversation. Now, you are seeing some PowerPoint screens on your computer or your television, and I did want to let you know that those screens will be posted on our website by tomorrow so that you will have them, for your reference. Likewise, the webcast will be archived and can be viewed by people who missed it today, or if you just can't get enough of us, you'll be able to see it again. Also, Miguel mentioned we'll be taking questions. If we don't get to all the questions, or if you have additional questions after the broadcast that you send to us, we will be posting a set of questions and answers that would be useful to most or all PHAs. So you can look for those probably by the end of this week also on our website. So with that, let's move forward. We have 4 major topics that we want to address this afternoon. Our 2013 voucher renewal funding, our 2013 obligation and disbursement process, the HAP set-aside, and finally administrative fees and a few other important program notes. First of all, our 2013 voucher renewal funding. Let's take a minute just to look at the background to see how we got where we are today. Our department actually operated under a continuing resolution from the beginning of the fiscal year through March 27th. You may be familiar with that. It was Public Law 112-175. That continuing resolution basically said that we would operate the program financially in the same manner that we had in fiscal year 2012 and using the same level of appropriated funding with a modest increase of a 0.612% inflation factor, so slightly over 0.5% inflation. Based upon the CRs, allotments were received by the department for your voucher program through March 27th of this year, and we made obligations and disbursements to you for January through June, also based on the provisions of the continuing resolution. At the time that resolution was set to expire, both chambers of Congress did pass, and the President did sign into law a full-year continuing resolution, and that is referenced as Public Law 113-06. And what a year-long CR means is that we are bound by the provisions of the fiscal year 2012 Appropriations Act and the funding of that act, except for those specific instances that are changed in the language of the CR. But otherwise, it is a repeat of the prior year. Just for comparison purposes as to what this meant for our funding, the President's request for our fiscal year 2013 budget for the tenant-based rental assistance program, all categories of funding within tenant-based rental assistance, was just over $19 billion. That compared to the amount that was enacted for fiscal year 2012 of $18.9 billion. So the request was a modest increase over 2012. The CR provides approximately $17.964 billion for all tenant-based rental assistance purposes. So you see that is a drop of getting close to $1 billion overall. As mentioned, the details of the funding and the implementation of that funding are provided in Notice 2013-12. So if you haven't pulled that down yet from the web, you will definitely want to do so and go through it very carefully. The important features that you need to be aware of as they affect your renewal funding. First of all, the fiscal year CR funding includes what is known as sequestration, a term that has become very familiar to many of us in recent months, and an across-the-board reduction. These actions reduce the voucher program funding by approximately 5% and 0.2%, respectively, both based upon the fiscal 12 appropriated amount. So there were two types, basically, of reductions that came in. Sequestration, simply put, affects the fiscal year 2013 appropriations, which are used to fund the voucher program for calendar year 2013. I like to make that clarifying point because the budget is a fiscal year budget from 10/1 through September 30th, but we have for a number of years now always funded on a calendar year basis. So this funding is to take us through December of 2013. The sequestration reduction in funding covers both HAP and administrative fee funding, as well as all other types of funding, but exempts funds for VASH. And this is because government-wide programs that affect veterans have been specifically exempted from the sequestration, and within HUD, only the VASH program met those qualifications, so it is exempted. And as you will see, that's why you saw some separate calculations for your VASH and your non-VASH renewal vouchers on the documentation that we have sent to you. The sequestration is imposed at an appropriation line level, which means that the department has no flexibility in terms of applying the reductions differently than strictly according to the appropriations. So if X dollars need to come out of the TBRA, tenant-based rental assistance account, renewals, we cannot change that and say no. We will instead reduce another line item in the budget by a greater amount so that we can have more funding than we would otherwise have for our tenant-based rental assistance renewal vouchers. That flexibility has not been granted to the departments in implementing the sequestrations for this year. So let's take a look at some of the comparable numbers. See, in 2012, our renewal funding, and here I'm just talking about renewal, was, as you see, $17,242,000, less $103 million that was able to be set aside for HAP set-aside purposes for agencies that needed additional funding. For 2013, the renewal funds are $16,349,000,000 and some dollars. Again, less the $103 million designated for the set-aside. This funding and the calculations that we have completed have meant that all your renewal vouchers, with the exception of your VASH vouchers, have been prorated at 93.976% of eligibility. And your VASH renewal vouchers have been prorated at 99.005% of eligibility. While not subject to sequestration, the funding for VASH vouchers is still subject to proration when we compare national eligibility to total appropriations. So it is slightly less than 100%, as it has been for a number of years. In terms of the administrative fees, for 2012, we had $1,350,000,000. For 2013, it's basically $1,300,000,000. And as we always remind you, that does include additional units, additional vouchers that did not exist last year but have been awarded since and whose fee eligibility must be covered. As a result of the sequestration and the proration, the expected proration that we will reconcile your fees at each quarter is about 69% of eligibility. I would just say no one is pleased with this, but that is where it landed. Obviously, the actual proration will depend upon the lease-up that you perform and the national lease-up that does occur across the year. This next slide may be a little hard to read on your screen, but once you get the screens on your computer, you'll be able to read it much more clearly. This looks at all the funding within the tenant-based rental assistance account. We've talked about the HAP renewal funding and how that number arrived. You'll see we have fees there for tenant protection vouchers. These are new vouchers awarded because a project-based contract, for whatever reason, has ceased to exist, or a public housing property is no longer going to be used. We also have administrative fees and the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. All of these are subject to both the across-the-board reduction and sequestration. Then you see the Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing. This is for new additional VASH vouchers. This is subject only to the across-the-board reduction of 0.2%, no sequestration. Finally, the mainstream is subject to both, and you see there the total appropriations that are available. In terms of the renewal line alone, just a little bit of information about that, how we got to that number, because that is really what is very important to most PHAs today. As mentioned, we start with what was enacted in 2012, the appropriated amount. It was inflated by 0.612%, a little over 0.5%, and that is actually the fiscal 2013 renewal appropriation. Then we had to take the across-the-board reduction, and we had to take out the sequestration amount. And that sequestration amount is a dollar amount that we had to reduce, and it was based on 5% of the fiscal 2012 enacted. That's why you can't just do the math, because there's all these other adjustments. So if you try to recreate it, it won't come out exactly for you. But once we've taken the across the board and sequestration out, that equals our 2012 renewal appropriation. To that, we were able to add a small amount of funds that we carried over from 2012, to increase the funding that we could use, and we subtract the $103 million that is provided to be used for the set-aside purposes. This brings us to the renewal funding that's available. From this, we take the VASH requirements, prorated, and what is left is what's available for the non-VASH renewal needs. So it's a little bit complicated, and I don't expect that you will, want to commit this to memory, but we just wanted you to have, a brief understanding of how we get to where we are when we come to do the funding. Okay. Now, as Miguel mentioned, the PHA renewal funding allocations have been calculated per the CR, and the bulk of them were issued on Thursday, May 23rd. The remaining few that had some, corrections that had to be made, a little bit of cleanup, those should be out to you today. So if you do not receive something by the close of business tomorrow, that probably means that there has been a transmission issue, and you will want to contact. You can either contact your analyst at the FMC or drop an email to the box that Miguel has already referenced for you. The renewal formula under the CR does follow the requirements for 2012 with one addition. And those requirements in brief are: we base your renewal eligibility on the actual validated HAP costs for the latest calendar year, which of course is calendar year 2012, as they were reported in VMS as of the March 7 deadline that we established for all adjustments to be made, and any subsequent revisions that HUD directed because data was out of line or missing, something like that. But it's your March 7th data that was the base. Then we made adjustments for first-time renewals. We'll go through some examples of these, but this is to ensure a couple of things. First of all, that increments that were initially funded for fewer than 12 months are brought fully funded through December 2013. And secondly, that any initial increment that was effective in 2012 and carried into 2013 is provided inflation for 2013, just to reflect that costs may have increased. So those are the two types of adjustments that we have made for first-time renewals. The addition that was made to the 2012 requirements is that PHAs may be eligible under the Disaster Relief Appropriations Act for PHAs who experienced a presidentially declared natural disaster in federal fiscal year 2013. So if they experienced a disaster such that it is affecting their HAP funding or their HAP costs in 2013, and when we get into the fees, has also affected their HAP fees, these PHAs were eligible to apply for additional funds, and these funds are handled as an adjustment to their eligibility for 2013. Then we again applied the renewal inflation factor, and overall these factors were very modest. The most common inflation factor this year was 1.000, meaning there was no measurable inflation to be applied to the 2012 costs to get you to 2013. And finally, we would apply a national proration factor. This was determined by comparing national eligibility to the funds appropriated. And as mentioned, it's different for VASH and non-VASH because of the sequestration. But the same factor do apply to all PHAs. That includes non-MTW and MTW agencies the same, because proration is simply a factor of eligibility versus dollars that are available. Each PHA's prorated eligibility was then compared to the renewal funds that were obligated for that PHA in calendar year 2012 2013 to date, which is January through June, has been completed. Through June, if the obligations are less than the prorated eligibility, the difference will be obligated in the month of June. If the obligations made through June exceed the PHA's prorated eligibility, the remaining eligibility will be spread over the remaining months. So each subsequent month would get a little bit less than otherwise to make up for the fact that the PHA already received some of the obligations that would apply to those months. And gee, this is all fun, so let's put in a happy word. There was no net restricted assets offset for calendar year 2013. Can I say that like 2 or 3 times so that we can have some good news? No NRA offset this year. Okay, each PHA received a document that doesn't look exactly like what is on the screen, but has exactly the data that is showing on the screen for your particular agency. You also received a set of descriptions that identify how each line in these calculations was determined and what the data was. And then you received a cover letter that set forth the policies and what basically was going on under the 2013 appropriations. I would like to walk through this sample one, and as Miguel mentioned, if you have yours at hand, that would probably be helpful to you. We've tried to include a number of the variables in this sample. And you can also have, your descriptive notes side by side when you go through yours to identify what's going on and if you have any questions. Because VASH and non-VASH had to be looked at differently, we first determined the eligibility for the VASH voucher renewal funding. And we did that, first of all, we looked at the unit months leased versus the unit months available. And you would see on lines 3 and 4 for the sample, this PHA was under leased for their VASH, 2,000 leased, 3,200 unit months available. The next line is a capping percentage, and this always raises a lot of questions. The purpose of a capping percentage is to ensure that we do not fund any overleasing. You know that PHAs are not permitted to use appropriated funds to lease more than their baseline number of vouchers or their baseline unit months available. And therefore, HUD also cannot fund for more than that level. So a capping percentage applies if a PHA was overleased. If you're overleased, you may see a capping percentage of less than 100%. If you see 100%, as the vast majority of you will, that means every dollar of eligible expenses that you reported for HAP expenses in calendar 2012 has been included in your 2013 calculations. So this PHA was not overleased in their VASH program. Now we're going to look at their non-VASH as well, because what we did, you may recall in the past we have allowed PHAs to look at their capping on an agency-wide basis, which is appropriate. So if you had VASH and non-VASH, we totaled up your unit months leased and your unit months available. We did that again this year. So if in total you were not overleased, your capping percentage for both VASH and non-VASH is 100%. Okay. If the PHA was overleased on one side or the other, and this only did happen on the non-VASH side, that is, we had no overleasing in VASH. So if you were overleased on your non-VASH, we allowed those unleased VASH UMAs to cover some of your overleasing on the VASH side, since overleasing is a program-wide restriction. It is not a voucher by voucher or subprogram by subprogram restriction. So when we get a little further down, we'll see how that applied. On line 6, then we simply pulled the PHA's total VASH HAP expenses from VMS. Line 7 shows the eligible portion, which, because they're not overleased, is that total again, that $1,309,000. Then we applied the renewal funding inflation factor, which in the case of this PHA is 1.000, to yield the inflated eligibility subtotal for VASH. In terms of the renewal funding inflation factor, as I mentioned, many or the majority are 1.000. Basically, a national inflation factor was determined by our Policy Development and Research Office, and that is based upon the projected increase in the per unit cost from 2012 to 2013, using a number of economic assumptions. Then that national figure was disaggregated down to the level of Class A cities and census regions on the basis of the change in FMR between 2012 and 2013 for each of those geographic areas. And that simply means once they had all been assigned, if you rolled them all back up proportionately, you would get to the national inflation factor. And because it was so low, it was like 0.4%, many PHAs ended up with 1.000. So for this PHA, then we see we have that inflated total being the same as the capped expenses. The other two types of funding that a VASH agency might have been eligible for, first of all, on line 10, first-time renewals, and line 11, the second one, VASH transfers in or out. First-time renewals, we mentioned that there's two ways that these could be effective. But actually for VASH, it's strictly the inflation issue. And the best example is many VASH increments last year were effective April 1, and they ran through March 31st of this year. Because those final 3 months are in calendar year 2013, we have provided additional inflation for that period since the funding was based upon prior costs. And it's based upon the number of months that the increment lasted into 2013, the inflation factor, and the amount that was originally funded. And as you can realize, even though some agencies may have these VASH increments running into 2013, if the inflation factor is 1, there was no inflation funding to be provided. In terms of the VASH transfers in or out, this occurred if you were one of the few agencies who either transferred out VASH vouchers to another agency or received vouchers via transfer. And in that case, we simply took the validated VMS costs for the divesting agency up to the point of the transfer in 2012 and moved those costs with the inflation factor applied to the receiving PHA. With that, we then would add up those three lines, the inflated eligibility, first-time renewals, and the transfers, plus or minus, to come up with the total VASH renewal eligibility. Then we did the same thing for the non-VASH, and it follows right through the unit months leased, the unit months available, and the capping percentage. Now, our sample PHA, as you can see, they were over-leased in their non-VASH vouchers. They leased 104,000 when they had 102,000 and change available. If we had capped those based upon those figures, their capping would have been just over 98%, meaning only 98% of their actual HAP costs would have been eligible for renewal because the other 2% represented overleasing that could not be funded. But because they were underleased in their VASH program, we took those unleased unit months from the VASH program and made them available to cover some of the leasing in the non-VASH side of the program, such that their cap moved up to 99.44%. It's a small factor, but it's helpful to PHAs, and it is consistent with the fact that it is one program. We're simply doing the separate funding because of the sequestration. So this PHA then had about $70 million of non-VASH expenses, which were capped at 69.6. Same renewal inflation factor as we saw before to come up with their inflated eligibility. And then they have some funding for first-time renewals that were not VASH. And in this case, the PHA could be eligible both for the inflation that we described, as well as funding to bring the term to the end of the calendar year. You might recall last year in calendar 12, we did not have enough tenant protection funding to fully fund all of the new tenant protection increments for 12 months, which is our norm. So some were funded for a shorter period of time. And if they were, we want to make sure we bring them current this year. A common example was you may have received an increment effective October 1st of 2012, but expiring March 31, 2013, which is only 6 months. Typically, in the past, or when funds are available, we would have funded that through 9/30 of 2013 for the full 12 months, and we would now be providing renewal funding for 3 months. But this PHA was only funded for 6 months. So we have to fund them for that additional period. And if you think about how we fund for that increment, 3 months of costs are in VMS for October through December, and they are already funded through March in their original increment. So we have to cover 6 months to get them to the end of the calendar year. And if your agency had an increment like that, that additional funding would be shown on this line. And at the end of the enclosure is a detail as to which increments these are and how much funding in each category, additional months or inflation, is provided for each one of those affected increments. Okay, and likewise, as we did with the VASH, the non-VASH has transfers in or out, and the concept is the same in terms of how we determine using the VMS expenses from the divesting agency. As a result, we then come up with a subtotal of the non-VASH renewal eligibility for the PHA. This is the range of $69 million. The other eligibility a PHA might have is some PHAs still have some DHAP units out there, and if you are one of those few PHAs, you would have seen a DHAP eligibility amount on line 23 based upon those vouchers that are still in use and the latest cost that we have. And those DHAP eligibility dollars are also affected by the same inflation factor to come up with a DHAP eligibility. And the final non-VASH entry would be for those disaster adjustments that we talked about. So when you take the regular voucher eligibility plus the DHAP plus the disaster adjustment, you arrive at the PHA's total non-VASH renewal eligibility. So going through all that, we have come up with renewal eligibility for VASH and non-VASH. Okay? What is left to do is to prorate them. And this is where the difference comes in. You'll see line 28 through 30 deals with VASH and the next 3 with non-VASH. We take the total VASH renewal eligibility, apply the VASH proration factor to get the renewal funding, and for the non-VASH, we do the same thing, applying the non-VASH proration factor. And again, the reason they're different is VASH is not subject to sequestration. So we based that proration factor on looking at the total program-wide expenses nationwide and compare it to the total appropriation before sequestration and fund the VASH, and then that comes out of what is left to fund the rest of your program. And that's why we have the 2 proration factors. We total the results on line 34 to achieve your 2013 renewal funding. And you see this agency, $66 million. And we subtract any amount that is due from the PHA to HUD to arrive at the final renewal funding that we will be providing. Those amounts due HUD, there's a very small number of PHAs. That just means that you received more funds, you had more funds obligated in 2012 than you were entitled to. That would have happened if, for instance, your NRA offset exceeded your eligibility. Therefore, we could not recoup that entire offset. We are recouping that here. It also happened because of the lateness of the appropriation last year, coupled with the offset. Some people received obligations before we got the appropriation that actually exceeded their ultimate eligibility. So those are reduced here. Last year, we also went through a process with about 70 PHAs who did not immediately have at hand the cash to support their NRA offset. Those amounts are not reflected here. Those amounts will still be collected, but they are not being collected as part of the 2013 allocation process. That will be done separately with each individual PHA. So these are just excess obligations from last year without that consideration. Then, as we mentioned, we look at on line 37 what we've already obligated. And line 38, the difference is what is remaining. Line 39 shows what in a perfect world we would have obligated. And you'll see for this PHA, we should have obligated $33 million. Line 37 says we already obligated 34, so they are over obligated. So the next two lines, 40 and 41, are where we show over or under obligations. So because this PHA happened to be over obligated, they're not due anything else through June. And their excess obligations are the $890,000 figure you see there. What that simply means is we will obligate less for each of the remaining months of the year, so that at the end of the year, the PHA will have been obligated the exact correct amount that we have calculated through this enclosure. And the final two lines just show what we are obligating for each month remaining in the year. Then, as we mentioned, we identify the increments that are eligible for inflation or additional first-time renewal funding, so that you will have that information, and we provide any specific comments relative to your PHA concerning transferred funds or other issues. We received a number of questions, and one of them had to do with the VASH funding. And from prior conversations, I know people are very concerned about their VASH funding. And the question we received, it was fairly complicated, but the basic essence is the PHA does not think they have enough money to operate their VASH vouchers this year. Like many PHAs last year, their VASH vouchers ran from April through March of this year, and they were funded for a specific amount, and what is left will not get them through the year, and they're concerned because they leased up gradually, and now they are fully leased. And I want to just kind of advise you about this, and maybe just using some hypothetical numbers. Suppose this PHA's VASH vouchers last April were funded for $120,000. Nice, easy number. And by the end of the year, perhaps the PHA had spent $50,000 of that on HAP expenses for VASH, had $70,000 they had not spent. What that means is that in 2013, they still have that $70,000. The $50,000 of expenses that appear in VMS are renewed at a little over 99% plus any inflation that they're entitled to. So the PHA has the same $120,000 basically to fund those vouchers through December. And if their costs have increased, they may need a little bit more, but they probably weren't fully leased January 1st, so there's still a little bit of play in there to get through the year. Additionally, as Nick will talk about, VASH units are eligible under the set-aside, although not a high priority this year, but if you have additional costs, and if this is part of the reason you're having a shortfall, he will explain to you how costs can be covered if there's going to be a shortfall due to your VASH vouchers or any other vouchers. And the final concern that this PHA raised was they were afraid they were going to have to go into the regular program to support their VASH vouchers. And we just want to remind you, the VASH vouchers are part of your regular program. You know, you are not prohibited from using all the calculated funds for non-VASH vouchers or any portion thereof to support your VASH vouchers. So do not think that you cannot cross that line. The line that must be maintained is that original VASH funding must be used for VASH, but your entire program is eligible to support those vouchers.
Bernice, before we go forward,
Yes.
There's been a couple of questions on VASH vouchers related particularly to PHAs that find them in a shortfall position. And we've had a number of questions saying, because HUD VASH was not subject to sequestration, what is HUD's expectation or requirement for a PHA to continue to lease HUD VASH vouchers? And essentially what HUD has said is, to the extent that a PHA has a 2012 allocation or a new allocation, we do expect the PHA to continue to lease those recently allocated HUD VASH vouchers. If you are a shortfall PHA, however, who hasn't had a recent allocation, the question as to why are you not required, or why should you not continue to lease HUD VASH vouchers, even though HUD VASH was not subject to the sequestration, is sort of a complicated answer. And the reality is, although HUD-VASH was not subject to sequestration, we don't have a separate line item for HUD-VASH renewals. HUD-VASH renewals are part of the overall renewal pot, just like any other voucher that you could think of, a FUP voucher or a regular voucher. So to the extent that we don't have a separate line item for those renewal costs for those PHAs, that's part of your regular renewal pot. And to the extent that your renewals are not sufficient to support the families you currently have under lease, there's no expectation or requirement, nor would HUD expect the PHA to continue to lease additional families at the risk of then having to terminate families because you know you already don't have the cost to cover that. Where, as Bernice was saying, where we have an allocation that was earmarked specifically for HUD-VASH families, which are that initial increment that you received, that's different. You can't use that funding for anything other than to lease HUD-VASH. And so to the extent that you haven't leased essentially the delta of whatever that allocation would have supported from the time that you received it, our expectation is that you do have funding available under that initial increment that you can't use for anything other than to lease HUD-VASH vouchers. And then in those very limited instances, our expectation is you would continue to lease HUD-VASH vouchers up until you've reached that delta, that tipping point, where you've maximized that particular allocation. So I hope that clarifies things. We had a lot of questions from people saying, I thought you said that HUD-VASH wasn't subject to sequestration. That the difficulty we have is we don't have a separate line item for HUD-VASH renewals, unlike new HUD-VASH vouchers that are coming in to the program for the first time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. One more thing I wanted to mention on the renewal funding is to remember that what we have been walking through are your renewal allocations and the funds we will obligate. This has not been about disbursements. It's strictly been about your allocation. So the amounts that you see on lines 42 and 43, where we show July and the rest of the year, those are not necessarily the amounts that will be dispersed. Your disbursements will continue to be based on cash management. These lines show what will be obligated, and you are eligible for disbursement for up to those amounts for the year. Okay, but please, do not let yourself become confused thinking that what you are seeing in those lines will be showing up in the bank on the first of each month, because that is not necessarily the case. Okay, I want to turn our attention just briefly to some other elements of the appropriation, specifically the non-renewal funding. Funding for our tenant protection vouchers and for your mod rehab renewals, as well as your mainstream units, is subject to the across-the-board reduction and to sequestration. As we had to do last year, if HUD determines that we do not have sufficient funds or sufficient budget authority to fully fund all of these actions, funding will be provided for fewer months, and the missed months will be fully funded later. In some cases, they may be fully funded yet this year if needs, start to slow down, or in other cases, they may be picked up in the next renewal, as we have just described we are doing this year. And funding for the new VASH awards that will be going out under 2013, that funding is not subject to sequestration. Okay, in terms of the obligations, let's kind of get up to date with where we are in that. January through April, we obligated based upon our projected proration of what we thought you would be eligible for in 2013, and that was before the discussion on sequestration. May and June were also based on your projected proration, but at this point we were able to start including expectations of sequestration. And in both cases, that estimated eligibility was calculated using the latest calendar year 2012 actual validated HAP costs from VMS that we had, and then an inflated value for the remaining months of the year, without adjustment for new units and without any estimated inflation going forward. So those were all best estimates at the time. Okay. Disbursements year to date have been based throughout on the cash management requirements that were originally set forth in PIH 2011-67. And again, January through March, That was based on last July through September, plus the margin, limited to what was obligated. And at that time, we also did make reductions if PHA had excess disbursements through the third quarter of last year. And then April through June, we based on the average cost for October through December plus the margin. In all cases, limited to what had been obligated. Now, we did take steps to make sure that PHAs, wherever possible, had the cost to operate the program, and that was successful. Because what we provided in addition to what was calculated, if the PHA needed it, was any undispersed budget authority from last year, from 2012, and any that had not been dispersed for this year, if the PHA needed it. We assumed that they would use their NRA or their cash if it was less than the NRA. And we have continued to provide front loads against the ultimate 2013 eligibility where these other sources were not sufficient. For the remainder of the year, PHAs must still assess the level of the program that they can support, and now having your actual allocations in hand, you are in a good position to determine that based upon the funding available, your actual expenses to date, and what you project will be your expenses for the balance of the year. We will continue to disperse per cash management, and we will continue to make front loading available up to the total budget authority available and obligated for your PHA. And remember, when you are assessing what you can support, remember what we have talked about, and what is on that enclosure that we sent you is only your renewal funding. Be sure to bring in any funds from prior increments that run into 2013. And once you get a set-aside award, if that does happen, be sure to bring that into your assessment to see what you can truly afford to do. Now, we've talked a lot about the impact of the sequestration, and now we've talked about the VASH, so it's appropriate at this time that we turn our attention to the 2013 set-aside to see how that can be useful to help with your program to maintain your level of support, and ideally to ensure, as a number one goal, that we do not displace participants in the program. And for this conversation, I'm going to turn you over to my colleague Nick to talk about the set-aside.
Thank you, Bernice. The 2013 HAP set-aside, like last year, as we're operating under a continuing resolution, there's $103 million available for the HAP set-aside. The application deadline for all categories is June 24th, 2013. One change this year from previous years is that we will accept email applications. The specific instructions for that are in the PIH notice as to the email address and the specific headers that we want on it when you submit it. Category 1 applications receive priority for funding. One thing you'll notice about the set-aside this year as opposed to last year, there's no longer a category for those DHAP and DVP vouchers. This year under the set-aside, there's a Category 1 application category for shortfall agencies. Category 1 applications can be submitted after that June 24th deadline, but those requests will be funded on a first-come, first-served basis. And important to keep in mind with the deadline, that deadline is for HUD to receive your application for all the categories, not for you to send it. So if you're using something, if you're not going to send by email and you're going to send something that's non-guaranteed receipt date, you may come after that date and not be eligible. So if you use one of those guaranteed receipt date, FedEx or UPS, then we'll be able to make sure that it gets in before the deadline and you'll be considered for funding. PHAs submitting Category 1 applications by the deadline can expect a preliminary response and commitment by July 24th. Another thing to keep in mind with submitting your applications, please submit only by email or mail. Don't email it and mail it. We'd like to minimize the amount of paperwork involved. If you need to check whether we received your application, just contact us through email. Category 2 through 4 are familiar categories to you. They won't be considered until after the Category 1 applications that are received by June 24th are reviewed and eligible PHAs are funding, and then we'll be able to use whatever remaining funds to fund those other categories. And you can get further details on those, the application requirements in the implementation notice, which is PIH 2013-12. For the Category 1 of shortfall, the purpose is to prevent the loss of families, termination of assistance when the PHA has taken all reasonable cost containment steps, but is still expected to have a shortfall in calendar year 2013. We're going to calculate the projected shortfall based on the 2-year forecasting tool, which will compare the resource available for HAP costs to the actual HAP expenses projected for the year. And there's a link to that 2-year forecasting tool in the notice. We use that tool. Resources we consider in determining whether your PHA has a shortfall include your NRA as of the end of 2012, as of 12/31/2012, HUD held reserves as of that date, calendar year 2013 renewal budget authority, calendar 2013 portion of any incremental voucher awards, and your calendar year 2013 set aside projected or actual. When we calculate the expenses to determine if you have a shortfall, we look at current leasing expense data projected through the end of the year, that the PHA suspended voucher issuance as of March 31st, 2013, and the projected attrition rate based on actual attrition for the last 12 months as we extract this data from PIC. PHAs must send in this attachment 1, which is attachment A that's included in the notice, and this has to certify that at the time of the application, the PHA must be working with the shortfall prevention team and must be in a confirmed shortfall position per the shortfall prevention team. If your PHA right now is projecting that they will have a shortfall and you haven't been working with a shortfall prevention team, you should reach out to your local field office and start to get in touch with the shortfall prevention team to see what you can do to mitigate the impacts of sequestration. In addition to the first certification, you must have stopped issuing vouchers except for new awards, movers, and homeless veterans under a new allocation. Additionally, PHA must have rescinded any outstanding vouchers as of HUD's April 26th letter, except for the exceptions mentioned above. Your PHA must have stopped or immediately stop absorbing portable vouchers, and your PHA may not issue a voucher to a resident of a project-based unit who wants to move, but project-based units should be refilled from the waiting list. Factors HUD will consider in determining the shortfall, as we mentioned, the NRA balance for 12/31/2012 or less if a change is confirmed. The HUD held reserve balance determined by HUD. The renewal BA is determined by HUD. Calendar year 2013 incremental and set-aside funds as determined by HUD, and unit months leased, the latest actual amount that we show in VMS projected through 2013 using your actual attrition and your allowed new leasing. HAP expenses based on UMLs and latest average per unit cost from VMS. Plan changes in leasing and year-end balance. PHAs with a projected year-end negative NRA and reserve balance will be deemed eligible for funding. PHAs may apply for shortfall set-aside more than once if your situation changes later in the year. It's imperative that you submit a complete and executed attachment A from the notice for each request. The rest of the categories are familiar categories we had in past years. Category 2A, unforeseen circumstances. This is for circumstances that have occurred during or after the rebenchmarking period and have been out of the control of the PHA and must have caused an increase in renewal costs. For example, if there's a significant increase in renewal costs due to an unforeseen rise in rental costs beyond the annual adjustment factor, you have to show evidence of these increased rental costs and a calculation of increased cost. Another example is increase in HAP costs when compared to the funded rate due to economic conditions, tenants losing their jobs and a decreased average total tenant payment. Another example is a disaster that perhaps causes an increase in the number of, or in the cost of rents in the area. That's an additional unforeseen circumstance that can be funded. However, it's important that you document the event and the results. Again, the event must be unforeseen, something like mismanagement or some other item that's in the control of your PHA is not something that will be funded under the category. It's very important that you submit a calculation of need, what you've determined these unforeseen circumstances will cost. You must submit a completed and signed attachment B from the notice, including what categories you're going to apply for. Another category from past years that you've seen is portability. Your PHA to qualify for this must have had a significant increase in renewal costs due to the tenant-based portability during the re-benchmarking period. PHA will be eligible for the difference between the average portable HAP PUC and 110% of the PHA's average PUC for each unit month that portable costs were paid in calendar year 2012. All calculations are going to be performed by HUD based on VMS data. There's no need to submit any documentation with this. We're not going to look at any documentation for this, so just submit the completed and signed attachment B from the notice. Now, if you're applying for multiple categories under this attachment B, you just send one attachment B that lists all the categories that you're applying for. Category 3 is project-based projects. These vouchers must have been withheld from use during calendar year 2012 in order to meet a project-based commitment under Section 8013. This applies only to new construction and substantial rehabilitation units. Don't apply with a existing unit because it won't be considered for funding. Vouchers will be funded to the extent that when added to renewal vouchers, they do not exceed the PHA's baseline. Again, as with other categories, you have to submit a completed and signed attachment B before June 24th at 5 p.m. Eastern. In addition to this, you must submit a completed attachment C, vouchers withheld from leasing, and D, project information for each project-based commitment. PHA has to submit identified sections of the executed AHAP and HAP contract, if executed, and if the HAP contract has not been executed, please include a statement that the HAP contract has not been executed yet. Category 4 is HUD VASH, and the way this will be funded is PHA's program-wide PUC for calendar year 2013 must be less than the actual average PUC for VASH vouchers per the PHA's reporting in VMS. When you apply for this category, you must provide actual VASH costs and leasing and a calculation of your estimated funding needed. All of these categories are subject to proration based on the funds available. As we mentioned before, Category 1 is for shortfalls is going to be priority. So if there's no further funding after Category 1 is funded, then we won't be able to fund these categories. If a substantial part is taken, they could take a significant proration. Next, we're going to go back to Bernice, and she is going to discuss the administrative fees for 2013.
Before we leave the set aside, I just want to make a couple of quick points related to Category 1, which is the category for the prevention of terminations due to insufficient funding after the PHA has taken reasonable cost savings measures. And in terms of what those reasonable cost savings measures are, what is required in order for a PHA to qualify for set-aside funding is not all of the potential cost savings measures that a PHA could potentially take. There's a whole notice that goes through a laundry list of cost-saving measures, which include things such as increasing the minimum rent that families pay, or requesting a payment standard reduction waiver that you can implement immediately. And so those actions are not required by the PHA for them to qualify for set-aside funding. The list that you see in the notice, the list that was in the April letter, the April 26th letter, is the required steps that a PHA has to take in order to qualify for set-aside funding. That isn't to preclude or keep a PHA from implementing additional cost savings measures, but essentially the cost savings measures that you as a PHA would be certifying to qualify for the Category 1 funding under the set-aside are those specific measures that are listed in the notice. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear to everybody. The other question that we often get related to use of the set-aside has to do with the payment standard reduction waivers. And we've gotten probably about 20 to 25 requests to date from PHAs requesting the authority to immediately implement reductions they've made in their payment standards to families under HAP contract in order to generate the savings to prevent the terminations of families later in the year. And in the past, HUD has granted those payment standard reduction requests. We have not been granting them to date because of the set-aside and the availability of the set-aside. It isn't clear yet whether we would have sufficient funding to prevent terminations without essentially removing what is a tenant protection that's placed in the regulation. And the justification for those waivers is because even though you're taking away essentially a tenant protection, you're preventing greater harm on the family, which is to say, if we didn't do this, the family would be terminated. The problem that HUD has been wrestling with is, to the extent that the set-aside funding would prevent terminations without imposing that hardship on families, it really isn't something that we would want to impose on families prior to knowing whether or not a true shortfall exists. It is entirely possible we may find that we will have to start accepting payment standard reduction requests and approving those waivers again if the $100 million is not sufficient to prevent terminations. But at this point in time, that's why we've been holding those requests and haven't been acting on them. So again, in terms of to qualify for the set-aside funding, what are the cost-saving measures I have to take? Those are listed for you in the notice. There are additional cost-saving measures that you as a PHA could still implement. There's nothing to prevent you from doing that. But that's the ones that we are looking for and that we are expecting a PHA has taken as a reasonable cost savings measures are listed in that notice.
Thank you,
Bernice.
Gentlemen, I'm a PHA and I have a question for you. I did not foresee that HUD was going to prorate me so low this year. Is that an unforeseen circumstance, and will you give me set-aside funds for it?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I will say that that's not an unforeseen circumstance because it affects 100% of the housing authorities across the nation. This is not just something that happened to a specific housing authority. This is a Congress mandate. So it is affecting every single housing authority that is administering the Housing Choice Voucher program. So I would say that would not be considered as an unforeseen circumstance.
So we don't want 2,400 requests for unforeseen circumstances due to the proration. It kind of would defeat the purpose.
That's a good question. Thank you, Maurice.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure people have that question, so I thought we'd ask it. Now we want to take just a few minutes and talk about administrative fees, a very important subject for all of you. As you're aware, administrative fee funds are advanced to you monthly based on your latest known actual eligibility and an estimated proration factor that we think will apply for that month. Due to the year-long CR and the sequestration issue, admin fee payments for 2013, which we will reconcile quarterly, we expect that those reconciliations will center at about 69% of your calculated eligibility. We received a very interesting question about that. Someone asked that if we applied the cash management procedures to your administrative fees, would that enable us to increase the proration? And it really wouldn't, because cash management doesn't relate to eligibility. It relates to how much is being advanced to you. And to use a cash management approach would not change any PHA's eligibility for their fees. But thank you for the thinking outside the box and trying to come up with a solution. If your costs cannot be supported by your fees due to the lower proration, due to any issues with leasing that may have costs, you will need to take action, especially if you do not have unrestricted net assets to support your ongoing costs. We'd refer you to Notice 2012-15, which discusses a whole range of administrative practices that a PHA can take to reduce its costs. And we must remind you that HAP funds may not be used to support administrative costs, nor for any other purpose. The calendar year 2013 admin fee schedules have been posted to the Housing Choice Voucher Program website for your use. And again this year, if the calculated rates based upon the economic factors used for the area in which you operate have actually decreased, we have held you harmless to the 2012 rate, and that is what is posted. So if you see that your rate has not changed, it's probably because it was calculated to go down, and we have frozen it. PHA requests for higher fees for those who were eligible due to their areas of operation, or for blended fee rates, were due by April 30th, and we did receive a significant number of those. We anticipate that PHA should receive responses by the middle or the end of June. And of course, no matter when your response is received, if we have approved a higher rate or a blended fee rate, it does apply for the entire calendar year. Okay, and we'll get that to you as quickly as possible. We also do have an admin fee set aside this year, and it will be used for very specific purposes, some of which are new. The ones that are not new but slightly changed will be providing $200 for each completed home ownership closing that you accomplish, and we'll be providing $200 per voucher for occupied multifamily units at the point of conversion to tenant-based vouchers, and that will be based only on occupied units at this time. We also, as a new feature, are planning to provide special fees for those PHAs that administer portable vouchers that represent a significant portion of their inventory. Now, we have not completed and vetted what those procedures and what the eligibility criteria would be. That information will be coming to you in the near future. But what we're looking at is those agencies who a significant portion of their work is portable vouchers, for which they receive, a lower fee rate, and we want to support that because we want to support the portable voucher efforts. And finally, another new feature is the disaster fee adjustments for those PHAs that were affected by a declared natural disaster in federal fiscal year 2013 will also be made if their fee eligibility has been negatively impacted as a result of leasing lost because of that disaster, or leasing reduced for that reason. And that will be dealt with those agencies who have qualified under that purpose. A few other program requirements that we would be remiss if we did not mention. HAP funds and NRA funds that you are still holding may not be transferred to any other program component anywhere else in or outside your housing authority, and may not be used for any other purpose beyond the eligible HAP expenses for your baseline number of voucher unit months. Period, amen. There's no other eligible use for your HAP funds or the NRA that emanates from your HAP funds. And I think, as we mentioned, PHAs other than MTW agencies may not use appropriated HAP funds to lease in excess of their baseline. And for MTW agencies that do lease in excess of their baseline, we do not fund in excess of baseline in any event, but they have some flexibilities that may enable them to increase leasing. HUD does still intend this year to recoup all the remaining NRA funds into the HUD-held reserves. We will be putting out procedures and requirements concerning that. So you will, as we've reminded you in the past, make sure that what is supposed to be in your NRA account is actually available in cash or liquid investments for that purpose. And PHAs are responsible for their accurate reporting to all HUD systems, specifically for purposes of this conversation, VMS and FAS, and there are sanctions available if PHAs do not report because that information is required and needed for a variety of purposes. We do appreciate the work you're doing under these less than ideal circumstances this year. We thank you for that. And I believe we're going to be able to take some questions now, and afterwards you can refer questions to your financial analyst at the field, or you can send them to the email address that is shown. Thank you, and I'll turn you over to Miguel for the questions.
Thank you, Bernice and Nick, for that presentation. We have questions already on the screen. Michael, you want to go over them?
I'm closest to the screen so I can actually see it, although this one is bigger than our other screens. So our first question is, if my housing authority does not exceed its voucher limit or its unit months leased, but does exceed its budget authority, will the dollar amount difference be funded by HUD? Thank you. Bernice, you want to?
Yeah. You could read this a couple of ways. The way I'm initially reading it is this year. If I do not overlease, but I spend more than what HUD has provided, will the difference be funded? This falls into the arena of shortfall. You would be expected to utilize all available funds from your budget authority, your NRA and reserves, and then if you had taken the necessary steps to control costs, you could be eligible under the shortfall provisions of the set-aside to receive additional funds. If you're looking to next year, which is the other way to read the question, the actual costs that you incur this calendar year, assuming the appropriations requirements do not change, those actual costs would become the base for next year, as long as the question has pointed out, you have not exceeded your baseline unit months in leasing.
Thank you, Bernice.
Okay, our next question is, I would like to inquire, how can a PHA actually increase its budget authority to fulfill the amount of vouchers it has and assist families?
Well, I can take that one. We are, as HUD, are not anticipating that PHAs will lease up to 100% of your unit month available. You have to manage your program within your funding awarded for the calendar year. Within these times where the proration is so low, 94, it's a historical lower proration, we cannot anticipate that your housing authority will be leasing up to the maximum units that you have. The only way you can receive additional budget authority will be in case of tenant protection actions, new vouchers that you would like to administer as VASH vouchers if you have families that fill that category in your area. But HUD cannot provide additional budget authority in excess of what the renewal allocation determined for your housing authority. Thank you. Okay, we have no more questions. We're going to give at least 5 more minutes until we get additional questions. Do we have any other questions that have been received in advance?
Well, we can make a couple of points about the tenant protection account. I would want to stress to folks that for the remainder of CY 2013, or at least fiscal year 2013, our tenant protection account is under significant strain in terms of demand versus the resources that we have. And so this year, we are only, at this point, providing vouchers for occupied units. We have authority under the law to provide vouchers for units that are unoccupied but were occupied within 24 months of the eligibility event. Unfortunately, given where we are funding-wise and the demand in our pipeline, we are only able to fund occupied units at this time. You'll also see that in terms of the initial funding increment that we're providing, we are providing funding through the remainder of the calendar year as opposed to 12 months, which we typically do. And again, just as we did this year, we would pick up the missing months, as it were, as part of a first-time renewal in 2014.
Thank you, Michael. We have not received any more questions thus far. I guess we're going to wrap it up at this time. I want to say thank you for all the housing authorities, field offices, employees, industry groups that have participated in this broadcast. Hopefully the goal that we had for today's broadcast was met. That was actually understand how the Financial Management Division determine your renewal allocation for calendar year 2013, explain how many categories we have under the set-aside funding, what are the eligibility requirements, the due dates that you have to be aware of. Please meet those deadlines to make sure that you are accounted for under that limited amount of funding. We want to, again, address that Category 1, which is shortfall prevention category, will be open throughout the calendar year, hopefully until late calendar year 2013, until we have met that need as supported by the shortfall prevention team and PHAs that have applied for them. We will not be able to announce any other funding categories under the set-aside. Again, Michael, do you have any other final remarks?
I guess I would just add to what Miguel said. First of all, I want to thank Miguel and his team, and particularly Bernice and Nick, for participating on the broadcast. But I must say Miguel's team has worked extraordinarily hard to try to get the renewal allocations out to PHAs as quickly as we can, realizing that the job you have is difficult enough. It's even more difficult when you're managing without knowing what your actual resources are going to be. So we do thank you for your patience. This has, again, been a very difficult year. It's going to be a challenging year for all of us. I do want to, again, express our appreciation to the work that our PHA stakeholders are doing every day under extremely challenging circumstances, given the cuts in administrative fees and in HAP as well. We know under the best of circumstances, it's a challenging job. And unfortunately, this is a tough year. And to the extent that my office can help you manage those challenges by getting information to you in a timely manner, being very transparent in what we're doing, and addressing the questions and concerns that you have, we are going to make every effort to do so. So again, thank you for your attention and for tuning in this afternoon for this broadcast. Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
Okay, one last remark. Please continue sending your questions to our mailbox, which is PIH Financial Management Division at hud.gov. I assure that we're going to respond to those questions directly, and if the questions are broad enough to benefit all the PHAs across the nation, we're going to post those questions as frequently asked questions in our websites, and we're going to tell you when that document will be ready or posted in our website. Thank you so much for participating in the broadcast. Bernice, thank you so much and Nick for the presentation today. We'll see you next time.